vraiment des films de cinéma, et là, ça m'intéresse de savoir comment ça s'est trouvé, parce que voilà, les deux longs métrages, je vous invite vraiment à les voir, que vous ayez d'ailleurs ou pas vu la série, sont vraiment formidables.
Thank you. It's nice of you to say. I mean, I have directed a little bit, but it's very hard, as you say, in American television, you're a writer and producer, and it's very hard to make the time to go direct. But when I did it, I found, well, this is the best job by far. It's much better than writing, much better than producing it, because you're making the film. And I know Vince makes time to direct, which has got to be very challenging because you're trying to do everything else in addition to being on set. But in the case of the X-Files movies, honestly, they were commercial undertakings, obviously. I mean, the studio insisted we do a movie, the first movie, in the midst of the TV series, because they thought they would make a lot of money. And it was quite a puzzle, not just logistically trying to figure out how to film a movie in the midst of doing a TV series that shot 24 episodes a year. So you were in production from July till the beginning of May. So you only had a few months, and you had to be completely ready to go shoot that big budget $65 million movie in that little window. And then we had to devise the story before we'd written an entire year of television. We had to know that this story would work a year ahead of where we were in the series at that point, and that the television series could continue after that point. It was quite a difficult undertaking, but it changed the course of the show, because we had to come up with this event movie that, you know, obviously I'm close to it, so I know the mythology of the show completely changed because of the needs of that movie. And then the second movie, very annoyingly, was delayed by 6 years. It was supposed to happen as soon as the TV series ended. It was supposed to happen. But there was a lawsuit, or a threatening lawsuit anyway, between Chris Carter and the studio. And so I sat around, really, every year we thought it was going to happen, this lawsuit would get resolved, and the movie would finally happen. And finally, when the dispute between Chris and the studio got resolved, the very next day they called and said, okay, let's go do that movie, finally. But by that point, the money they were willing to spend on the movie, it was less than half of what they were going to spend in 2002. And they were insistent that it had nothing to do with aliens. It had to be a small, standalone story. And it became this very small, moody, sad film. It's really what it was. It's a very...
C'était vraiment un anti-blockbuster.
Yes,
vraiment...
anti-blockbuster, absolutely. And, you know, I'm proud of the movie, but it's not a movie you release at the height of summer, a week after Batman, which is what happened. So it didn't perform terribly well commercially. So I've been making the argument ever since that they should finish the X-Files story in the manner that it deserves, and they may do that. But it's an interesting thing about Hollywood because it is purely commercial. The business is all about money. And in some ways that's a terrible thing, in other ways it's a wonderful thing. Because it's all organized to make the most money possible, so to the extent that good stories make money, you have the ability to tell really good stories. And I found, being in Europe, and Mark and I were talking about this just before we started here, money is part of it, but there's also culture, public service, there's a political agendas to some extent. It's very, very complicated. And I think a lot of talent in Europe is frustrated because it's not clear how to achieve the best work. And I think that's something I hope will change. I hope that Europe starts to make more international productions that compete against American productions and allow people to do their best work as a result.